Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today.
Hey, mothers and daughters, back with part 2, all about state to state. The first one we did was about the bare minimum that you need to earn state by state to just barely get by, and that was just kind of informational. Right now, we're going to be talking about the amount of money you will need to retire comfortably in every United States. So again, we're only talking about the United States of America. We're not talking about other countries, and so don't get too excited and go like, well, that's not correct. Well, I'm just telling you the facts here. So we're going to go state by state, and if anything interesting pops up about that particular state, I'll just kind of give it to you, because I've been to a lot of these states, and it's like, okay. All right, so now these are the amounts that you'll need to retire. And so to retire, you typically are looking at a 20-year retirement. So let's say the average age is 75, 80. So minus 25 of that. So of 75, that's going to be 50 years old. So let's say you retired 50 years old. 55 years old, then you will need to have enough money for 20 years. Now, that is not including your disability check you might get. That's not including your Social Security check you may get. That doesn't include your any extra monies that you've put in that you're already entitled to. This is the money that you're going to need to be able to live off of. Of course, living expenses, we're talking if you have a car note, we're talking your insurances. We're talking, for example, if you're a teacher, you put money into the teacher's retirement, you don't get a regular Social Security check. You have to go with whatever money you had on your teacher's retirement. I remember when my auntie retired from being a teacher for 20, 30 years or whatever, her retirement check was about $4,300 a month, but that had to also take care of her insurance. That had to take care of all of her medical needs, the food expenses, things like that, whatever her husband did not cover, which he did cover pretty much everything, because they're pretty traditional, old school couple. So for 20 years, I want you to get that in your mind. And I'll keep repeating it so that you don't get too excited about these numbers. And I'm just going to go state by state. Alabama, you're going to need $1,135,380. I'm not going to focus so much on the $380. I'm going to focus more on the first number. Okay. Alaska, for 20 years, you're going to need $1,635,920. Arizona, you're going to need $1,407,800. Arkansas, you're going to need $1,177.80. Okay. California, you're going to need $1,807,980. So you need just as much in California. That's weird, because those numbers didn't translate like that earlier. So Alaska is 1.6, California is 1.8. But those two were pretty, pretty expensive if I think about it when I look back. Colorado, you're going to need $1.3 million. So $1,371,300. Connecticut, you're going to need $1.5 million. That's $1,504. Delaware, you're going to need $1,373. So just about as much as you need in Colorado. Florida, $1,362,180. You know, in Florida, they have one of the hugest retirement centers for seniors there. They have the hugest retirement centers there. And just imagine if you moved into that particular type of community, you got access to the beach and all kinds of things. They take you back and forth to the store. You can still have your own car and all that stuff. That'd be pretty cool to me, I think. To live in a retirement center where you're around people that are your age, that have your same interests, that's going to look out for you, that have some of the same issues you have. I just think that would be really cool, because you move from focusing on the family that you were born into to creating a whole new family and friends that have the same interests as you do in the same living arrangements. And those places are very, very, very nice. They're not some shabby apartment complexes. They're very, very nice. Georgia, you need $1,158,840. Hawaii is not playing with you. Hawaii say y'all can do all of these things y'all want to do, but if you want to retire here, you're going to need some money. And I guarantee you, with the alleged bunker that Mark Zuckerberg is building in Hawaii, I bet you that's going to increase cost of things too. Because even though I understand that what he's building is underground and that he's using a lot of self-sufficiency type of things, it's going to affect that property and land some kind of way. I mean, 5,000 square foot quarters and all this other stuff. I don't even know if any of that stuff is true, but if it is, it's like, wow. Hawaii say, we're going to need, we're not playing with you. Don't come over here thinking you're going to be a broke hobo backpacking person, because you're not. Hawaii say you're going to need $2,424,560. Okay? So you might as well go and have 2.5 million. Just let's round up. Let's round up instead of back. Okay? Idaho 1.289. Illinois 1.97. $1,197,940. Indiana $1,175,000. Iowa $1,149,000. Kansas $1,137,980. Kentucky $1.2 million. Louisiana, oh my gosh, I don't know how Kentucky and Louisiana. Okay, all right. Louisiana $1.2 million. Maine $1.492. Maryland $1.617. Massachusetts $1,953,980. Okay. The gist of what I'm saying right now, to retire anywhere, you pretty much need at least $1.2 million for a 20-year run. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, there are some people who spend that much money in a year. Okay. Michigan, $1,195,340. Minnesota, I told you I like to say it like that, 1.23. Mississippi, M-I-S-S-I-P-P-I, $1,101. Missouri, 1,174,400. Montana, Montana. Oh my God, my daughter, the youngest one, she used to wear me out looking at Hannah, Montana. When I tell you, I feel like I grew up with Miley Cyrus, and we way years apart, but I feel like I grew up with Miley Cyrus simply because my daughter played that all the time. So Montana, $1.3 million. I'm going to go ahead and just round up actually on some of these. So Nebraska, so Montana was 1.372. Nebraska is 1.187. Nevada 1.328. New Hampshire 1.495. And then we have New Jersey 1.486. New Mexico, I'm still loving New Mexico, 1.222. And then New York is $1,768,880. You know what? I was looking at something the other day, and I saw this couple who gave a tour of their I guess condo or whatever you call it, high rise or whatever it is in New York, and it was like they paid $4.3 million for. When I tell you it was beautiful, oh, it was so beautiful. They had really remodeled it and made it even more beautiful and stuff. I just was enamored with it. It was high ceilings, beautiful view. They had torn out some walls. They had something that I would take in that apartment any day. And it was clean and gorgeous. Now, in the comments, they said, well, yeah, of course they could do that because the guy that's with that lady, she's a multi-billionaire. So I was like, okay, well, he hit the jackpot. That's awesome. But they had I'm gonna just speculate, because I saw it and measurements, almost like I would say a 20-foot wall, so 20 feet tall, probably by 50 feet wide, a bookshelf built into the wall. They said that the person who used to own the loft, the penthouse, the whatever, was a bookstore owner, and he loved book. When I tell you, me and that bookstore owner could have been real good friends, and I could have came and visited him every day. We could have been real good friends, just for me to come and see the books, to just look at them. That's something that I've definitely been considering, is building in bookshelves into, like, I want to remove my fireplace and I want to actually turn it into a built-in bookshelf. The problem with that is I could actually do it because I have the fireplace covered up right now anyway. So, okay, North Carolina 1.2 million, North Dakota 1.269, Ohio 1.165. I have to keep on talking because I'll get to coming up with ideas and start writing, and then I will get Pablo on the phone and say, hey, I need you to come over to bid me out a project, and that's the way that will go. Because Oklahoma, $1,130, $1,160. Oregon, $1.6 million. I'm gonna start rounding up for real. $1.6 million. Pennsylvania, $1.3 million. Rhode Island is commanding $1.5 million. South Carolina, $1.3 million. South Dakota, $1.3 million. Tennessee, $1.2 million. State of Texas, don't mess with Texas. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, I love when I'm in the car and I hear that song. 'Cause I'm from Texas. We got, oh, well, when I hear that song and Natty did a rodeo version of it, I be in the car like clicking my little heels while I'm got my foot on the gas. But anyway, I am a typical, I am a typical Texan. I'm proud. I'm loud. I let everybody know I'm from Texas. I know I'm going to retire here. I'll travel everywhere in the world that's accessible to me, but I love Texas. I really do. And it's not just because I was born here, because clearly you've listened to the show and you know I've traveled and been all kinds of places and all around the world and yeah, but Texas is my home, and not because it's affordable. Texas is my home, and not because I'm just used to it. Texas is my home. I'm accustomed to the people that are here. I'm accustomed to the dialect. I'm accustomed to the melting pot of folks that we have here. I literally don't have to go anywhere in the world. I could literally just go to certain neighborhoods here and actually meet everybody from around the world. If I want to meet somebody from Africa, I'll go to the area. I'll go to Southwest Houston and meet all the Africans I want. If I want to meet folks from India, I could go to South Houston and meet Southwest again and meet all the Indians I want. If I want to meet people from Asia, I can be in Katy where I live and meet all the Asians that I want. If I want to meet somebody from Egypt, or somebody from India, or somebody from Qatar, or somebody from Japan, it's all right here. My city is a melting pot, which makes me even more proud because I'm born and raised in Texas with a mom from Louisiana and a dad from East Texas. And so I have what I consider the best of both worlds. I have my Texas roots and I have my mom's Louisiana roots. So, and then I have my grandmother's Mexican Native American roots. So you can't tell me nothing. And I feel even more connected to Texas knowing that my dad's mother was a Caddo, Caddo, a Caddo Native American Indian, because as you know, you well know that Mexico literally was Texas before Texas stole it. So that makes me even more, proud to be a Texan, because I'm deeply, deeply, deeply connected to my roots here with a little side of Louisiana in me. And I know Louisiana is in me because, like I shared with you on part one, on the medium salary that you have to earn in order to just basically even get by in the different states. As I shared with you before, when I went to Louisiana in 2014 and I had my office and my studio apartment there, I felt right at home. Like, you didn't have to convince me to do anything. I made it my business to join groups for newcomers to Louisiana. I used to go play games with them and hang out and Christmas parties, all that great stuff, go to the movies, networking. I mean, I immersed myself into the community to just learn what I was hoping when I was in Louisiana. I was hoping that I would unlearn what I thought I had learned about them. But what actually ended up happening is everything that I learned about them was actually confirmed. So back to my list. Texas, 1.2 million. It's actually 1 point. It's 1.207. So I just rounded to 1.2 million because on the dollar it's only $60. So Utah, 1.329. Vermont, 1.5 million. Virginia, 1.3 million. Washington, D.C. is 1.5 million. No. Washington is 1.5 million. Washington, D.C. is we might as well say 2 million because that's $1,999. So you got to kind of round up on that one for sure. West Virginia is 1.170. Wisconsin is 1.225. And West Virginia is 1.95 that you have to earn in order to retire and live another 20 years without there being any type of interruption in your funds or having to go back to work. Because I see a lot of people that retire and then they end up going back to work and they end up regretting it and hating it and like, okay, I'm retiring, yeah, I get my retirement check, but then I also still got to go and work. So they really, really, really hate that. But I want to give you also, while we're here, I want to give you some tips on or some ideas on how to keep a little bit of extra cash flow on you, okay? One of the tips that I'll give you is to set some financial goals and set them early. And the reason why you want to set them early is because you won't end up in a predicament where you're kind of caught off guard with your finances. You don't want to be caught off guard with your finances because if you get caught off guard with your finances, then that means that you're going to have to raise even more money to be able to, and I know my voice kind of got a little far, but I had to get up and close my door so I wouldn't have any noise. But you want to make sure that you set very clear and concise financial goals for yourself and anybody that you may have to be responsible for, because let's just say you have to take care of an aging parent or a disabled child or anybody that's in your home with you. You got to also think about that as well. The next thing, number 2, I'll tell you to always have a budget created. Like, my budget changes every 90 days. I have a different budget because things that I may be paying for this month, I may not be paying for. Like, I am in the mode, I won't tell you what I'm doing, but I'll tell you what I did. Maybe about 7 to 10 years ago, I got rid of my cable bill, my landline bill, and my internet bill in the traditional sense of, like, for example, through AT&T or through Xfinity, which was my last carrier. And I did that because when I first got them, the bundle was like $89 and it was a 2-year contract. When the contract was up, they wanted to then start charging me $300-400 a month. I said, no, that's not going to happen. I said to myself, okay, in 2014, when I got my studio and everything in Louisiana, I only had streaming services and I didn't even care that I had cable because I got cable there and then I got rid of it because I was like, I'm not here enough to be paying for cable. It wasn't that expensive. They gave me kind of like a good deal or whatever through AT&T, so I got that one. But after I canceled my cable, my phone bill, and all that, I no longer had that $300-400 a month that I had to pay for, so it kind of made my budget, I could scale back a little bit. Even like with my budgets that I have now, I have like 3 things this year that I'm getting ready to take out of my budget, which is going to really help with everything. And those are things that I'm taking out that I don't have to put back in. Also, make sure that you hold yourself, number 3, hold yourself accountable for your actions. So, for example, let's say you put a budget together, but then you're not following it and you keep getting upset with yourself. You may need to reach out and talk to a financial advisor or talk to someone in the financial space to be able to help you with simple things like your budget, simple things like your setting financial goals and things like that. But you do need to hold yourself accountable. So accountable could be partnering up with budgeting places. Accountability could be writing it down. Accountability could be getting you a financial, strategy on paper, something that you can hold yourself accountable for. Or, like I said, joining some of these different groups would be really great, like a meetup group or a Zoom group or some kind of online financial group, like I've seen on Facebook for years now, like no spend Januaries or no spend Decembers and all that stuff. And those groups hold each other accountable. Number 4, avoid buying on impulse. For example, we've all had it, I've had it, where there's just some things that you just think at that moment you really need to have or you must have. But buying on impulse, I say if you see something that you feel like it's an impulse, wait 3 or 4 days. If you still feel that same way about it, then get it. If you don't, then don't worry about it. I have to do that. I literally, sometimes I'm in the store. It doesn't matter, it could be grocery store, whatever. I'm in the store and I'm thinking, do I need it or do I want it? Like everything that I purchase, I go through that process of do I need it or do I want it? If I need it, game over, I'm getting it. If I just want it, I have to think about what do I want it for? Is it because I don't have that at all? Is it going to contribute to me, completing the meal that I'm trying to do? The next thing is going to be, do I think I'm going to consume it within the next 3 to 5 days? If it doesn't pass that smell test there, then I don't do it. And it does hurt sometimes because there are times when you just want to get something because it's there. Now let me tell you, I'm not no fool. Mama didn't raise no fool. I know a sale when I see one. I know when I'm in a foreign country and I'm not going to see that particular thing in my country, I'm going to get it. For example, I'm going to be showing you over the next few weeks some things that I've purchased in other countries that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to see that again. Or it was just so cheap, I couldn't believe it. Like I've gotten things that were 5 times, 10 times cheaper in other countries than I could get it here, or even on Amazon or any of those other sources. Maybe as cheap as a Temu minus the taxes. But you got to think about it. Temu is a foreign entity as well. And I wish I could just stop smacking my lips. I'm always like, it's so annoying to myself. So I know it's annoying to you, but oh well. Number 5. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to move on because I don't want to rub you the wrong way. But if you have credit cards in excess, get rid of them. When I bought my home in the 90s, I was fresh off of 2 years being divorced, and I had credit cards since I was 16 years old. Barely had a job to pay for them, and they gave me credit cards. So by the time I got divorced and wanted to buy a house, I had 16 credit cards. I had to clean up my mess. All of my credit at that time, I ended up paying them off. Like, for example, I owed Cons $1,500. They let me pay them off with like $123. I mean, I was a first-time home buyer, and they really worked with me. I was so grateful. Like, you have no idea. I was so grateful. But I was able to pay off all those credit cards. And then from that moment on, I said I'll never get another credit card. So I haven't had credit cards in over 25 years because that experience was almost devastating for me. Now, I do know some people who live off of credit cards only because that's the way they roll over their money. They rob Peter to pay Paul, and they, buy with this and pay it off. And it's sad to me to know that people get it. Let's say you get your paycheck and your paycheck is $2,000 this week. I'm just going to go by this week. I know that's not a reality for a lot of people, but let's say your paycheck is $2,000 for this week, but your credit card bills are $1,500. That's absolutely crazy to me. I don't want them. I'm kind of a cash and carry girl. If I cannot afford it at that time, I don't need it. Again, I go through that process of do I need it or do I want it? Do I have to have it is another question. So don't misuse your credit cards or avoid misusing your credit cards. Invest in yourself is going to be number 6. And when I say invest in yourself, invest in things that are going to last. I am actually right now today recording this podcast that I'm doing for you on how to retire smart. I am actually recording this on a MacBook Pro that I purchased in 2011. I have since gotten a MacBook Air about 2 months ago, so I do have a 2023 one. I just have not gotten it to the way that I want it yet, so I'm so used to this baby here that the other one is kind of sitting back here, and I got to reset my password and all that stuff. But starting January 1st, I'll be transitioning from that one to this one. Now, I'll probably still record a lot from here, like if I'm traveling or something. I'm not sure yet. But this baby has been with me since she's 2011 and only had one mishap where I had to change the hard drive. But when I tell you I got my money's worth on this, you can't tell me nothing. I got my money's worth. So invest in things that are going to be long lasting instead of a trend, and things that are not going to last too long for you. Because just imagine 11 years ago, if I wanted to retire today, I have a device right now that's going to carry me on through for the next 20 years. It carried me through this far. This next one will carry me through the next. So again, this computer is since 2011. So wow. So the number 7 is going to be focusing on solutions instead of the problem. Again, I'm giving you some solutions right now. You know, Mike Murdoch said, if you have solutions to problems, you'll never be broke. I took that so serious when I heard that 10 or 15 years ago. I take it so serious to the point that I only run my business that way. If I can't offer you solutions, like I told you the other day, this podcast is informational. This podcast is to help you. This is to drop little notes and tidbits that's going to help you on your way. This is not about gossip and all that other stuff. I could do a gossip show, but what's the point? But focus on solutions. And if you can focus on solutions, like Pastor Mike Murdoch out of Dallas says, you'll always be able to have money in your pocket if you can solve people's problems. That's also a biblical principle. Make sure that you are investing in something. I'm not talking just about stocks and all those things. You can invest in a business. You can invest in all kinds of things. But make sure you are investing in something. Number 9, get back to the basics. Get back to the basics of knowing that you're not overextending yourself and stressing yourself out so that it lasts through the long haul. Because the worst thing you can do is to get 10 years down the road and realize that you're overextended, and now you got to spend 5 more years before you can retire, when actually you could retire right now. And my final solution for you to help you to keep cash in your pocket and to get you through that 20 years of retiring smart, avoid trying to impress anybody. Avoid the 5,000 square foot house that everybody can do the show and tell. Avoid the car that's $1,500 a month and that's not with the insurance that you're paying. Avoid all of those things that's going to cost you some heartache and some hardship down the road. Okay? I think that if you take some of the tips that I just gave you, first, if you take the knowledge that I gave you on what it's going to take for 20 years for you to be retired, I want to throw this in there as a little monkey wrench. Imagine if you do what I'm suggesting and it works out wonderful for you. And then you're ready to retire. You've got your, as they say, your ducks in a row. I'm not sure why the ducks in a row matters. I'm going to say, let's say you got your dollars in a row and you decide, you know what? I'm 55 years old and I think, or you 60 or whatever your retirement goal age. That's another thing. I'll add a bonus tip, number 11. Figure out what age you would desire to be when you retire, and then that will help you to reverse engineer how you're going to get that 1 point whatever million, or if you go to Hawaii, you better have a 2.5 million. But what I want to say is, once you retire, you want to make sure that you can retire in any corner of this earth. When I tell you that this earth is beautiful, some places are not as beautiful as others because the people have made it that way. But let's say you got your money in a row, not your ducks, but your money in a row, and you decide that you want to retire in a different country. You could take your money and you could invest in a different country. For example, I know a lady right now that retired from Dallas, Texas, and moved to Phuket, which is in Thailand, and she loves it there. I don't know what her retirement plan. We're not that kind of friends, okay? I don't know what her retirement plan is, but she's living there in an extended, Airbnb situation, loving what she's doing, and really, really, really excited about being where she is. She gets to come back to the United States of America for events and for PR that she does, and for representation on different promotional things. That she's a PR individual, so really in the media space, but she is loving what she's doing. And I just say, whether you want to retire in the United States with the numbers that I've just given you, or you want to retire in a different country, and even though the cost of living is going to be maybe 1 to 2 times less than that, at least you have a plan that you put together. And then also it will help you that if you do move to that other country and you have to end up moving back here for some reason, family, issue or whatever, you'll still have enough money without hurting or without having to kind of go back into the field of either what you were. And we all know the truth is that when you stay out of a particular industry for so long, you pretty much age yourself out. And then when you go back, you almost start at the bottom with the kids, unless you have some kind of favor there. You start at the bottom like the kids, making a salary that's not going to really take care of you. And even though you may get your retirement check and everything, it'll help you, but you just don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. Also, if you're going to move to another country, look at what their retirement visas are. This young lady I was just speaking about in Phuket, her retirement visa is under $1,000 to get it, but you can get a retirement visa at 50 years old. I thought it was something that I was interested in, but after visiting Southeast Asia for 30 days, it didn't give me the umph, and I realized that it did not capture my soul. I saw beauty, I saw a lot, but it didn't capture my soul to want to be there. Like wherever I'm going to be, I have to be comfortable around the people that I'm comfortable around, and to know that I could be there for another, we're talking 20-year type of situations here. So that's my show for today, just talking to you about retiring smart. And I am excited about learning more and more from different people that have retired and how they've done it. I've already been talking to people on how they did it. I don't think I'll ever retire because I really do love what I do as an independent solo entrepreneur. But that's my show today on Retiring Smart. Bye.